All right, back in the saddle, back doing another show. The show that no one asked for, no one was requesting. No one saying like Jeff Hilliard needs a show. No, I just did it. Just went out there and made it happen. I'm here with, I want to say it not, I got to do it really perfectly. And a wonderful friend who's a director, a talented musician. He's also done some acting too, right?
A little bit, yeah. I don't want to say what kind of acting, but
this is
I'm the guy from that Viagra commercial. You guys,
Tommy
Cardile.
I want to say it with the
Cardile, not Cardile.
Cardile. I wanted to do it right, and we were making fun of like how an American would do it with the umph. With the
it would go like Cardile,
like hey,
and then this stupid sound,
like the terrible impersonation of an Italian.
Yeah.
All right. So, what was it like growing up in Italy?
Look, fantastic. Like my upbringing was sweet, man. Like Italy is a beautiful country. It
Now,
really is.
what city were you in?
I'm from Milano City, the center, and I grew up there. Up until I was 18 years old. I went to like kind of like a liberal art high school. I was actually studied painting and sculpture, stuff like that. And
so as a kid, you were like, I'm going to be an artist?
Yeah.
You're always highly creative?
Yeah, I was. Like, actually, it was the only subject that I wasn't failing at. The rest I was terrible, like, math, Italian language, no good. And just kind of like the only kind of two things that I was succeeding at were music and art. So I started going first to kind of this very difficult high school for like gifted kids. And I soon enough found out that I wasn't cut for it. After I start cutting people, like I found out I wasn't cut for it. I literally kind of like was expelled for bad behavior.
You're like a mob character already. You were cutting people.
No, I was burning them. I created like a lot of. I created like a mini revolution inside the school.
Really?
Yeah, because actually in Italy, like kids riot like in the schools. We actually every year we occupy the school for like 2-3 weeks in high school. Like that means that a bunch of 14, 15 years old, they get the keys of the school, they close up the school, and they live in the school for 2 weeks.
And this is a normal thing.
And they smoke, weed, and then just do graffiti all over. It's a normal thing. Actually, the teachers, they actually encourage it. They're like, do it so I can take a vacation.
Yeah, this is hilarious.
Yeah, it happens every year, man.
And this
public
is
schools.
And how old are you? Was this just high school or junior high? Or?
No, junior high school. I was just, finding out that, I was trying to kiss a girl. Like it wasn't that hardcore. It started getting hardcore in Milan. Like when you're 14 to 18, that's when it's real. And Milan is a very macho city, very street.
Yeah.
We used to kind of always meet up in this square. In Italy, everything is a square. Piazza this, piazza that. So every piazza has his own gang, and we meet up at night and just talk. I was into hip hop when I was a kid, and I have to say, God bless hip hop in the weird Italian way of the hip hop, the 90s hip hop, because it helped me staying away from like the bad shit like drugs and alcohol, because all my friends were into the arts. I was hanging out with the breakers,
break dancers.
Yeah, they were all about dancing and keeping it fit, and they were the most successful with the ladies, because they were all fit.
So you had like a one of those boom boxes and like cardboard, and you were out breakdancing?
Yeah, we didn't have cardboard, but we used to meet up in this place called Muretto, which is translated as the mini wall. And because there was a wall where we used to sit on, and it was made of this stone that was kind of polished. So it was perfect for the breakers. They didn't need like any type of vinyl or, linoleum type of stuff.
Wow.
They could break there. And I was just kind of more part of the singers scene, the MCs scene.
So you were rapping.
I was rapping, and
it's like Italian rapping.
Yeah,
I love this. When it was like you're like a DJ.
I wasn't DJing at all. No, I had a DJ in my band.
Yeah.
And he was very good at scratching. We were very advanced, like for being in the night. Like actually, turns out that my friends that were in my band, now they're the most successful rappers in Italy. You know, like,
Oh wow.
yeah, like my one of my best friends growing up, which I still talk to, pretty much every week, is like, I would say, it's stupid to say, but just to give like your audience, like a reference, it's like the Italian Jay-Z. It's always like if a record comes out, it stays first in the charts for like 20 weeks.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and all my friends.
So you're basically
end
like
up
in the Beastie Boys when you were a kid. You were like, was that like
No,
were you
no.
a fan of the Beastie Boys?
No. The Beastie Boys. I'm not that old like you, Jeff. No, I was a fan of the New York hip hop artists. Like at the time, I used to love, man, like Nas. Big Punisher. I used to love Terror Squad. I know you come from a different background.
Yeah.
More like the rock and punk scene, right?
Well, yeah, but I definitely loved hip hop because hip hop was like punk rock when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Anything that was, like NWA was. I mean, when I was a little kid, like Luke Skywalker.
Yeah.
Like, because it was so inappropriate. So anything that was like subversive, had an edge to it, I was into. So I definitely liked. I was into metal. I was into rock. I was into hip hop. I was into everything. Anything that was like had something that wasn't really pop, like that was subversive.
Right.
I was a fan of that. So it didn't matter how you presented it.
Although then, if you think about it, like Whitney Houston was like
she's
the
beautiful.
most punk rock artist of them all. Like in a way. Especially
I mean,
her
she lived
lifestyle.
like it. It's her lifestyle. Exactly. She definitely lived. God, poor thing.
And some of the artists that used to be like rebels back in the day, they turned out to be so vanilla in a sense. And also a lot of this hip hop that used to be all about being against the system and against whatever was, the illusion of the commerciability of life, of owning stuff. It turns out to be like their greatest sort of, now the artists, they're all about like what they possess and what they can achieve in a vulture capitalistic sense. It's very different now than what it used to be. Music in general, especially hip hop. I don't know if the other scenes.
Everything's changed. I think that's probably to do with the business of music, with the downloading of free music, how artists make money, and then you like.
Are they making money?
I don't even know if they are.
I don't know. I mean, some are. I mean, I think this year it's been tough for artists because from what I understand, the most money, especially for new artists, are made by in touring. Like in.
Yeah, it's the only way you can probably make any money is touring.
I'm guessing, but now because the stream revenues are like, they end up like signing some shitty publishing deal. They end up like giving up.
Well, years ago, like if you're an artist, you would never really want your song. It's like it would be like a kiss of death if you were like, you had a song and it became like the song for a television show or for a commercial. Yeah. That was like not cool. And then that changed to be like a thing you're aspiring to. It's weird how everything is completely changed to, I guess, the corporate masters.
I guess it's all about, everything needs to be immediate. Before you had the time to unfold the story, tell the story, to kind of like show sides of yourself. You want to keep mystery. You want to, and now it's all about, who has the biggest thing, the sort of like, it's just different. Like, I don't get the social media hype. For me, it's not that interesting. I don't find it particularly stimulating.
Yeah, you start to get to the age where pop culture doesn't really make sense anymore.
Yeah, I get, or well, like if you're a good storyteller, you take pop for what it is, and you try to either mock it or make it your own and improve it. If pop is what people consume and that's what we want to sort of tap into as artists, because we need an audience, just because doing it for ourselves, it could be cool for a while, but then you kind of want to commit suicide. It's this weird, right? This sort of like idea that, we're so passionate when we create, and we do it at the end of the day to be understood.
Or to connect with people. Now, you're a great storyteller. You're a director. Now, I I met Tommy after I did the Good Life music video.
Yeah.
And I met you through
Sarah and Kinsey.
Sarah and Kinsey, yeah.
I was blown away by your video. I mean, I saw so much creativity in it. I said, no matter what, I need to kind of like collaborate with this cool cat. You know, I never saw anything like that in my life, like that video that you made. You know, I was just kind of like, I was blown away. And I think we did a really cool short together.
Yes, we did. I did a movie. I acted in a movie that Tommy directed called P.O.V.
Yeah.
And it was pretty telling of what the future was coming as far as where can someone see that?
I think it's on YouTube and Vimeo is available. Like
if they just type in POV.
I think so. I mean, this film, you know, to me was like I made it not just to go to the festivals and do that thing, but I did it to kind of show here to the studios and you know just go more like into sort of like you know, it got me like a big agent. You know, that was like a worthy investment of time and very little money because it didn't cost much to make. And I think people can find it if they.
I'll have a link. I'll put a link on
we'll
YouTube.
Find it. It's brilliant, especially considering it was done like many years ago now.
Yeah,
I was talking about easily 7 years ago.
Yeah. Okay. So, how did you how did you become a director?
So look,
did you when you were a kid? You're like, I want to be a director. You were into more music, right?
Yeah, but like I have to say, like my father was a director too.
Okay, really?
Yeah, he directed commercial. You know, my father, you know, he really comes from like nothing. You know, like he was born in 1940. You know, he didn't grow up Jewish, but he is a Jew. You know, like. And in Italy, you know, it's like just the war just kind of like started and there were racial laws and stuff like that. So he ended up kind of like not even going to school and he just made it for himself. You know, he just became like a big deal commercial director in the 70s and then in the 80s kind of like really did it. And then kind of like moved out of it, of the business. So I was already on set when I was a kid, like a young kid. I acted in some of his commercials, you know, like as a kid for like the crackers this or like, you know, whatever. At the time, it was good for us as a family, you know.
Did you want to become an actor or do you think?
No, I never really did, to be honest, because I didn't think I had it, you know, like I didn't really think I had it as an actor. And I was just very fascinated with the sort of like, you know, and also like when I started doing it, you know, for me it was... Am I too far?
Yeah, coming close.
It was like an easy way. Sorry, it was an easy way to really make money because.
Yeah, of course.
At the time, you know, I had a great into like.
Your dad's.
No, my dad was already gone for a while, okay. But kind of like through friends, you know, like I had an in to start kind of doing my own productions in the fashion world. And
okay, so you were doing like fashion films?
Yeah, I started with that, like professionally as a filmmaker. I started with that, and that's where I started seeing like a lot of money coming in. I started like sort of like it became a business by the age when I was 20 years old. Wow. Where I was like making like you know, at the time it was like maybe 10 grand a month doing that, you know.
And you were shooting all of these yourself.
I was shooting, editing, already doing it all by myself. I had a partner, you know, like a business partner. We were doing it together. And he actually is here now in LA. I still see him, you know, like we're good friends. And yeah, we had a blast, man. Like Milan is a very kind of active city in that world.
Yeah, for fashion.
Fashion. So we used to kind of like shoot all the big... sort of like kind of started with the behind the scene type of stuff, you know, from like big photo shoots, like the campaign. Every campaign back in the days needed a behind the scene, you know. So we would show up. We were this young kid with our little, you know, mini DV camera and just like trying to figure out angles, you know, looking at girls, you know, trying to kind of like be really artsy, you know. We were not doing anything artsy. We were just filming. but for us, it was a vehicle to travel the world, man. I've been to so many places when I was
Wow.
back there. I spent like a month in Morocco. I went like 4 times to Japan to work on a project. I was going to London, like Paris
Wow.
all the time. And then that's before I actually moved to New York, because after all this work, I saved quite a lot of cash. And that allowed me to kind of like say, fuck it, just gonna go to New York, which is like the capital of the world of that. And
Yeah, it's like in the fashion industry. I know for like the models and stuff and photographers, like once you've built your book, and that's the mecca. That's like where the superstars are.
yeah,
right?
New York, Paris, Milan,
Yeah.
you can make an equal amount of money, but New York, it's kind of, it becomes like, if you depends on what kind of life you like.
Yeah.
I was into the idea of coming to America. I always saw it as like a great place, and New York sounded like so much fun, and it really was.
Now you were primarily shooting the videos. You weren't doing photography, or
No,
just basically shooting the
I
fashion
never.
films.
Yeah, I was always kind of focusing on the video thing, and then I kind of like I did it there. It went pretty well in New York for a while. I kind of like started working for Condé Nast, as a publication like Vogue, So I started with them, kind of Italian Vogue, and I was covering.
wow.
Yeah, as like the web became a thing, like I started shooting a lot of content for them. I used to just go be me and an assistant and a Vespa in New
nice.
York City, and we met so many cool people.
Oh, I bet.
Through Vogue, like I interview all sort of interesting, and I was just like kind of like trying to make it into more, not like a plain interview, but like shooting B-rolls and slow motions, and just trying to dig a deeper visually into like whoever I was trying to, interview or meet, which was like, we had like very interesting characters, like Marina Abramovic.
Wow.
What
What was she like?
She was cool. Like, honestly, she was really, really cool cat. Yeah, she's definitely not what QAnon wants you to think.
Not sacrificing.
She's not sacrificing and eating baby alive. She's just kind of like, I think she's a smart lady who just stuck with her passion and made it a thing.
Yeah.
Like every artist. I think, any artist has a vision, then sticks with it for a longer period of time than regular people. And that becomes their hustle. It's like, think of any successful artist. They just believe in what they do. They become better and better every day by doing it and repeat. And then their thing become a thing.
Yeah.
And it's recognizable because it's so unique.
Yeah.
And then people start putting a value on it, or not. And that's cool too.
I think that would, what an exciting, as a young man shooting behind the scenes in fashion films, and you're meeting all of these, because that is like, to me, one of the most entertaining groups of characters is in the world of fashion, the absurdity of people, and then shooting all these different, and as a guy with, you're probably raging hormones, and you're around some of the most beautiful women on the planet. I mean, how did you manage all, like, what?
Jeff, I didn't manage. I was like literally like incredibly, I wasn't humble, first of all. And I mean, looking back at it, if there's like any youngster, like listening, you guys, like, humbleness, I know sometimes it comes difficult, but it's a great weapon that you can kind of like, you can fake it. If you don't feel it, you can fake it, and it's gonna definitely help you in life.
Definitely.
No matter what. And I just literally, like, I don't want to say I'm married,
and you have,
I have a
your
child,
wife.
I have a son, and by the way, big reveal, I just found out today that I'm having a girl.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Another one.
Yeah. It's,
Amazing.
Jeff, it's so easy. Once you're inside,
Yeah.
you just keep it a little longer. Like, everybody asks me how you do it. It's just like the easiest thing, man.
Now, Tommy's wife, your wife is amazing. She is a beautiful, very fascinating, very intelligent, lovely, lovely woman. Yeah. So
she is.
Your kids are going to be. This is where I would bet on. Your kids are going to be superstars no matter what they do, because you have two great parents.
I hope so. I mean, most of it, one thing for sure, Jeff, these kids are going to be loved. I love my son to pieces, man. Like, I give him so much love. I can see.
How old is your son now?
Is almost 2. Like, soon enough, he'll be 2 years old. He's gonna be 2 in March, and we are in December now. If you're listening, fantastic kids. He's growing up here in LA, you know.
Yeah.
It's a tough place, man. Like yesterday, we had a shooting, like literally 1,000 feet from where we live.
Yeah, I saw the.
You saw it,
Yeah,
man.
the two people that got shot or something.
Yeah.
Terrible.
I mean, it's happening, you know, a lot. That's why, like, for a while, I'm gonna move back to Italy, just like from March, just until things kind of settle down. You know, my dad is also a little sick, so I'm just gonna go, you know, give birth. Not me personally, you know, but I'm gonna go to Italy just for like a few months to a year. We'll see, and then eventually maybe come back or come seasonally. You know, it's just difficult with kids this town, guys.
Yeah.
Like, especially when you get into like, you want to get into the school game, you know, a lot of people are moving out for that. It's just like, it's not getting better. You can see that this homeless situation is.
Yeah, it's getting tough in Los Angeles.
You saw it.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. If I mean, I need to be here for the nonsense I'm doing, but I don't see how it looks grim. But okay, so you're in New York. You're shooting you're working for Italian Vogue, shooting the behind the scenes fashion films. And where's the evolution?
So yeah, from there, you know, kind of the good thing about Vogue back in the days is that a lot of the advertiser of the magazines, you know, they need content, you know, and you know, they hire, you know, photographers, they hire video makers to produce their content. So once you're associated with a big magazine like that, you know, you start kind of like getting better jobs and more money, because obviously the editorial, you know, you don't make a lot of money. No. I mean, I used to make decent money. I remember sometimes I used to get like 3 gigs in a day that pay $400 each. So I used to make like maybe $1,200 a day just running around like a crazy, you know, person on a Vespa. It was good, man. Like, I don't complain. And then on top of that, you get the benefit of sort of like, you know, introducing yourself like someone working in that environment and and that's kind of how it got me into like the bigger set. So that's how you kind of like grow, like even, you know, you start kind of like as a director, you know, you got to know the technology, obviously. You got to start understanding a little bit how like the business works, you know, like you have to have a little bit of, you have to be a jack of all trades a little bit, you know?
Yeah, I think if someone wants to be a director, I think the first thing to do is learn how to edit.
Definitely.
Because then you can tell a story and you feel like what shots you need and don't need. And then obviously, hopefully, have some photography or photo. You have to have an eye to understand.
I couldn't agree
stuff.
more like about what you said about the editing. I'm like, you know, some directors are like more director / DP, you know, that they have a very good feel for photography. Yeah. I feel like more director / editor. You know, I can fix a lot of shit in post.
Well, also, but if you come at stuff as an editor, then you know how to shoot it.
You move faster, man.
You're going to be way more, because you know, there's a lot of people that I didn't even know what the hell a director was, and I didn't really have ambition of being a director. I knew I was good with visual stuff, and I just kind of fell into when I was doing. I would making all these crazy videos.
Yeah.
A girlfriend of mine, I'd go out and just shot random people doing stuff, and then I edited it to music. I was trying to teach myself, and then she was like, "This is amazing," and then she showed it to one of her friends who's a director, and he was very encouraging, like, "You should go down this path," type of thing. And then I just thought I didn't even know what the fuck a director. I thought whoever was holding the camera was a director. I was such a dumbass. And I was shooting the Pussy Pounder.
Yeah.
And I was giving the camera to people. I'd set the whole shot up and like, we're doing this.
Yeah. You were basically directing. And then you find out that you were actually directing.
So I kept telling my friend, I'd hand him the camera and tell him he's a director. And he was just shooting stuff. And he had to tell me, like, he goes, "No, you're actually the director. You're the one directing this."
Yeah.
And I thought it was really, I just was such a dumbass. I'm just making a video. I'm not really, all the terms of stuff, I haven't really.
But I think that's the best attitude to get through creatively that process. I think when the greatest ordeal for directors getting rid of that label of director and become just part of the team.
Yeah, that's all you really are.
And I think that was like, I actually, made a fefeature film, and that was like, for me, I think.
What was that experience like? So you did the short film.
Yeah.
And then you got the agent.
Yeah.
And then I have to tell you, you've helped me. It's a very funny story.
Tell me.
Because you told me I was cast in the film, and then I was uncast because you had to get a minority to get a tax credit.
Who said
remember
that?
that?
I did that. I said that.
Yeah,
really?
yeah. Which I thought was my. Then I told my friend who's a director, and he goes, dude, you need to tell him that
I
you
was
have
probably
been-
bullshitting you. I was probably bullshitting.
That's good. I hope so.
Probably bullshitting you.
So
yeah,
then
because
my friend goes, dude, you need to tell him you were diagnosed with PTSD. And I'm like, this is how crazy the world has become, is that
Oh
you would
my
need to
God.
get.
I'm a bit of a genius of having told you that. I to be honest, it's
I don't even
possible.
probably remember.
It's possible. No, because I'm sure I wanted you.
No, you said that you cast me and you're like, we're doing it. I didn't hear from you. And then I was like, are we doing this? And you're like, dude, we had to get this tax credit. We had to have a minority. And so I wasn't losing sleep. I just thought it was hilarious.
Oh man, actually, it's very possible, to be honest. Now that I think
I
about
did
it.
see that in the film there was a Latino that played the part.
The
That I
cop.
think I was. Yeah,
That was it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you
dude.
needed it. And I was like, how many people can say that they've lost a job because they were hired and lost the job because of the color of their skin?
Wow.
This is awesome.
It's,
I'm like, this is amazing.
I don't know. I don't remember. I mean,
It was,
I did like
it's
just
funny.
to say, like I
thought it
didn't
was-
have much control in that film in any aspect.
No, it was like a studio film, right?
It was like a small studio
Small,
film,
yeah.
but like it's just like no control, and that to me was kind of like didn't kind of like really like it as an experience, just because.
Now, did you?
I didn't have-
write the script.
No,
This
I
was,
didn't.
They gave you.
I
a
just
script
I
and
was
said-
hired out of the short film and a good creative pitch that I gave them. I make like a video of like what I thought the movie could look like, and they loved it, and they hired me on for that, I guess. It's just like when it came, and the producer of the film was also the writer of the film, and I thought, great. I mean, he's gonna really care about it, and but I think he was, it was a nice guy, but I think it's also his first job as a movie producer, and he, I understand, he had kids and stuff, and he didn't feel like risking too much, taking too many
very
risks.
safe.
Yeah, he played very safe, and I was ready to kind of go all the way in
Yeah.
and just trying to kind of like really make something great. But then I shortly like understood that there was, I had to move at the same pace that everybody else was moving, or otherwise, I would have wrecked myself by myself. I just did what I could, in that situation, but I was trying to kind of come in with like creative vision to kind of make the movie. I remember like right off the bat, like, the way I wanted to shoot the movie, I wanted to shoot it like all like from security camera, and like a very sort of like, I wanted to be all on a running. So just kind of moving around a lot, just not doing, and like
a voyeuristic thing in the action. Like
Yeah.
a lot of medium shots with your like a steady cam, constant motion.
you got it. Exactly like that. And the producer's like, well, you know what? Like, I don't think we have the budget for like a movie operator or whatever it was. And I was like, yeah, but it's just like, it's going to save us so much time. And that's the way I really want to do it. I'd rather cut something else, like tell me like what's just like, nah, it's just it's not going to happen. And then I talked to, I tried, I talked to the other executive producer. They're like, yes. And then the day before they're like, no, it's just all like this.
Yeah.
Locations too, like I found the location myself, after searching. And then I'm like, yeah, but, I found your location that is cheap, it's big, has a lot of things, but we cannot shoot the whole movie here. We need to have like a hero location as well, And they're like, sure, yeah, no problem. When it came to kind of get me that location, it didn't happen.
Oh, shit.
And then like I found myself also like sometimes they were cutting budget for like for the art department. I had to I found myself, which I don't mind, but I found myself, kind of like decorating the set. I'm supposed to talk about to think about the shot list. That's the only thing. Like when you're in a movie, and it was only 14 days.
Oh wow. That's tough. That's a tough schedule when you're doing a feature film in 14
Yeah.
days. It's
It's you burn out very
Yeah.
quickly. And at the time I was fit,
Yeah.
to make it. Like now I will.
now were you a camera operating as well? Were you the DP
No,
as
I
well?
had like
You DP?
I had like a fresh off the boat Russian DP. Kind of like he had like maybe 17, 18 features.
Okay, so he's
But he didn't speak very good English, but he had a great eye, and it kind of was like, he was literally like a nuclear submarine. You know, like you could stay there for hours. His name is Fedor Lias. Great guy. He's in Russia. He's working a lot. You know, so he's like one of the top Russian DPs. And it was an interesting crew in a sense because it was like I had a Dutch, Dutch art director. I had like, all sort of like an Italian DIT. You know, then there was like a great AD. You know, like I would say the people were amazing,
You had a great
and
team.
the actors were great too. You know, I had like some really good actors. It's just like kind of like the chemistry of the whole thing. If you tell me this movie was a great experience, a learning experience, I can't wait to make another movie. I'm gonna do so many things so different. You know, the first film is always a tough one. You know,
Yeah.
the foreign country too. You know, different modus operandi. You know, different ammos.
Yeah.
I love, by the way, you know, I want to bring the way Hollywood works on films. You know, in Europe now, if I go and shoot there, because in Europe is way more disorganized. In a sense, helps creativity. You know?
Yeah, definitely.
Like my friends are telling me stories all the time, the way they make things happen in Europe. You know, like it's crazy, man. Like locations in Italy, you know, my buddy, you know, just like, oh, we need this location. They call the gangster of the area. He shows like, oh, we need this terrace. It's like, yeah, don't worry. It's like they talk to the custodian or like the doorman. And it's like, oh, how much do you know the owner? No, it's not gonna happen. They call the gangster. The gangster come with like something to chop, like because there is like some chain. People don't have the keys. The guys come, chop the thing. It's like everybody in, all the crew, and everybody's submissive like this because they see the gangster. So they let the whole crew shoot, no problem. I mean, it's sometimes just things. This is like normal in Italy.
Yeah.
These kind of scenes are normal.
That's funny. Well, I think a lot of times, I mean, most of the stuff I've shot, it's like being a criminal. I'm stealing locations.
Oh, yeah.
I'm doing.
I mean, remember that film that we did together was,
yeah.
except the bus that
Yeah.
I actually
rented a bus. That was great.
I actually rented the bus.
That was great.
That was great to rent. That was $600. I remember. You know, it's just.
So you survived your first film.
Yeah, I survived it, and I shot a lot of music videos in between.
Yeah. You were doing.
You know?
I've seen all of those.
I'm just get some of them, you know, kind of like decent budget things, like, you know, and then I've been writing so much. So now I have like several projects, you know, that are ready to be made. And I kind of like need to partner up with the right people now and just come out with the right projects. And I'm going back to Europe for a bit. I'm going to go check out that industry as well, because now with the streaming services, it's picking up, you know, big time. Netflix, Italy, Amazon, this.
Well, I imagine in Italy, you can be a big, the pond isn't as crazy, so you can be a big fish there.
I can try, you know, and I can make something that maybe is international, you know. That's what I want to do. And I want to also, I'm thinking of just going, you know, I'm becoming an American citizen. I've been here for so many years. So I want to pay respect to this country and become part of it. I want to be able to vote. I want to be able to kind of like be part of society. And also, I'm a European citizen as well. So I just want to create like a bridge between the two cultures. And that hopefully also will translate in some business, you know. So we'll see. You know, I'm excited about the future and see how it evolves, this situation. You know?
So, okay, your future film projects. First of all, you have to cast me in them because I have been diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder. So I'm a mentally ill person, which is important to have in your film. You have to have a certain amount of people.
You have PTSD.
Yeah,
my wife
diagnosed.
Are you diagnosed?
Yeah, like legitimate. I'm a legitimate crazy person. So now I will be able to fit in. You'll be able like, well, this is and I'm also 0.03% Nigerian.
Okay.
And I'm 2.2.
I was gonna say that's from the belt down.
Yeah, just a small part of the area down there is Nigerian, and then I'm 2.2% Spanish and Portuguese, and I'm 0.01% Arabian. So I'm a person of color.
Wow.
I'm 99.
What is it? You're 23andMe.
I'm 99%.
What kind of percentage do you have of? Do you have any Italian?
Spanish and Portuguese.
Yeah.
I'm basically like Irish, English, Scottish, Welsh. I think there's some German, French. No Italian, I don't think. No, no. I should have to get the whole thing out and just go through the whole list.
Yeah.
I just thought it was great that I'm 0.03% Nigerian.
Nigerian, how so specific?
Because you've got those emails that says like you may have a long lost Nigerian. I dismissed it like it was like their
like
economy.
some scam.
And now I'm thinking, fuck, man.
You thought it was
I could have inherited a bunch of money.
That's so funny, man.
From 20 generations ago.
That's a good one. That's
like
a good
so
one.
fucking ridiculous. Okay, so
I have like a good 10% Arab.
yeah.
Like 10%. Italians. I have like a lot of relatives from Sicily, so we had for a long period. We had like Moors. People come from North Africa living in Italy. It was part of the caliphate. So we have a lot of that in exchange,
So you've been so you came to New York City in 2000?
I came to New York City like officially in 2003, and
So
then
you've been here for like in the United States 17 years.
Yeah, 17 years.
What the hell is that like? Did you grow up speaking English?
No, as a matter of fact, I
English?
didn't speak any English before sort of moving here. I studied German in school, and I'm not that fluent in German. Like I'm like basic. I can kind of like understand, but no, I just developed the skills kind of like here.
I guess you're gonna learn. You have to see you're either gonna sink or swim. You're gonna have to learn a language. If you live in a country, it's gonna happen after a while, right?
Yeah, you have to. I mean, unless you don't. For example, like you don't have to learn English, a language. Spanish. Like a lot of people, like Spanish-speaking people here that've been here for 30 years, they don't really need to learn English. I mean, they should.
Yeah.
But open them a lot of opportunities. I feel.
I was just thinking, working as like a director and working with talent, I can't imagine if I was to go to another country, learn a different language. I mean, I guess you're gonna go, or you're gonna adapt to whatever you need to make things work.
In general, I think if you want to survive, you have to adapt.
Yeah.
No matter what, and you believe in yourself, you can do whatever you want. To be honest.
What is it like growing up and having the Italian experience, and then how does that, when you're in America, like, what are the big differences? Where is like the hubris of Americans?
Yeah.
The obvious, like they don't know where.
No, I think
that you see as an outside perspective, and also living here.
First of all, like America is a big country. You have all sort of people here, I wouldn't want to generalize. I met like the smartest people ever, the dumbest people ever,
Everything's here.
Everything is here. It's a rich country in culturally speaking,
But as a creative person, doing things creatively in Italy, because everything kind of is inspired from one another, right? So you grew up in, like an American hip hop.
Yeah.
Inspired a hip hop scene.
Yeah.
In your world. And then you're in the fashion world in Italy, which is inspiring.
Yeah.
There's a mixture of cultures and stuff.
Yeah.
And so how do you
look, we all trying to get better at
right?
everything all together. And there's some people they're better at doing some stuff, and they influence other people that they try to get to their level. And then eventually, the other people, they get better at doing other and we all grow as a whole, like I don't really believe in borders. I think, certain places they develop certain skills and that those skills become part of their culture,
What makes life interesting is different cultures, and they bring different influences.
Yeah.
Into whatever they're doing. I think it's kind of cool coming from the fashion world. I'm a big fan of the fashion world.
I know. That's why I mentioned it, because I know you kind of like really.
I love the costuming, the presentation. I think there's a lot of, the visual aspects, obviously.
Yeah.
So I think that's great to come from that into storytelling. So I'm excited to see the movies you plan on making, just because of coming from that visual. Who are some of your
but to be completely honest, I want to be 100% honest with you. I just found an opportunity there in fashion, and I never been like this kind of fashion dude, you know, like
but you can't help but be like
absorbing whatever. I mean, I have to say the best thing about it was the girls, you know. I'm gonna be a dude now and not just really I'm gonna be real more than anything, you know. I never really care about clothes, or never really care about, even though like even my wife, you know, like she comes from like a big fashion family, you know, like they have a very successful 70-year-old brand in the fashion world that is fantastic. And but still, you know, neither me or my wife are very fashionable people, you know, like we just like regular people. And you know, we love food way more than fashion, just to give you an example, you know. But anyway, I see what you mean about the like how like the aesthetic of fashion can or could influence
as a director,
especially
if you're shooting behind the scenes and you're shooting fashion films and stuff, because there is such a they're always hitting whatever the trends are, and there's a lot of the people are, as far as photographers and stuff, they're actually creating trends and looks that then translate into, you know, music video worlds and then commercial and then the feature films and stuff.
But I think that's just one aspect. You know, like what I'm saying is that life nowadays, you know, how you can absorb information is in the form of a feed. You know, everything happens really fast. You might have one picture that is about fashion, like what is the coolest trend, and then you have another one that is about like, you know, the CDC for, you know, whatever is relevant right now in the news, or, you know, politics. And the people that I think are now relevant are the ones that are able to take all the ingredients of life now and cook some kind of like amazing dish.
Make their own specific
exactly, you know.
View.
So I think, you know, as an artist today, like one needs to be very sensitive about everything, especially if you want to, you know, obviously there's like directors that are very technical, like, you know, Michael Bay, or like these guys that kind of like dedicate their life sort of like in making these great pictures that are full of facts, and they're so technical, they're almost like stunt director on that. Or there's directors, they're more authors. I see this day, you know, like, to be honest, like TV to me it's much more interesting this day than
it's amazing what they've done,
because you have more time to really dig into human psychology, relationships, you know, your story, you know, and then you you know, the characters in general, like it's like and now it took over, like if people now watch way more TV than films, I'm pretty sure.
You've changed they've changed the landscape. I think my cinematographer I work with, who's brilliant, he had me watch Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
And that I never, you know, that just changed, to me, that changed my perception of the world of television. I mean, I don't know, there's something about a feature film, the format, the time period. I don't know if that will ever go away. There's certain things I think that are a better movie, that would be a better series. I know sometimes I've gotten into some of these TV series which are great. They just start repeating themselves. Sometimes they go a little too long, depending on what's going on. But I've seen some brilliant television series, and I love the fact that you're able to go into all these different worlds, these different characters' worlds, and they can develop so many other plot lines and storylines that help move the story along differently, give you so many different perspectives that you wouldn't get in a regular feature film. But it depends on if something's worthy of being.
Yeah, that has to be worried. And one thing we know for sure that, you know, has to be like the formats of like comedy being like between 25 and 30 minutes and drama being 50 minutes is what works. Because like people trying to do like this shorter stuff, you know, like it's not working. You know, no, people just I don't know if you like kind of like follow the Quibi failure.
Yeah, I had a producer telling me we should sell your show there. And
yeah,
all stuff,
same.
And, you know,
yeah.
Nothing ever. It's just a lot of people talking in my world. Nothing.
It's just you know, everywhere people talking a lot. But at the end of the day, it's about, you know, people doing like what we're doing now. You know, like you're doing something. You know, like you put your equipment together. You know, you've called me, your other friends, and put together a show, and we're talking about something that someone might find interesting or not. I found it interesting. I love having this conversation with you. And that's what it matters, really. And then if things takes us to like a different place, better place, fantastic. We embrace it, right?
Yeah,
we
yeah.
embrace good vibes.
I make the creative gods. I'm working for. I'm always have a project I'm working on, and it becomes my boss, and I just continually. Sometimes I don't know how I'm gonna get there, and then I've gone down some roads where I try to do feature films, where I've put a lot of work into putting these big complex things that have almost gotten made, and then I've purposely scaled back to just focusing on doing a song and a music video and shoot them as like a short film, which they themselves could end up becoming a feature film. I mean, my goal now is I'm open to whatever possibility arrives, but I'm trying to get into the landscape of doing the low budget feature film down the road, because I that's something I can realistically make happen.
Yeah.
I can't do any more these big things that are never going to happen, which they keep sounding like they're going to do. It's just such a waste of time.
I feel you 100%. You're like, let's put together 50 grand and shoot a movie, and maybe we sell it for 100, and the next one we make it for 7. We keep the 25.
Yeah.
I think that's the model for like people that are independent and they don't want to get caught into the sort of like pitching movies for 2 years, kissing ass and hoping that like one of these executives, like for some weird reason, which is never the right reason, they actually greenlight as a movie, you know.
Yeah. And then you have all the other influences involved in it, and you're not even
and then when you get there, you know, like you realize that you're just kind of like a pawn and you have no control of the thing, you know, at least for the first 2-3 movies. And then maybe if you're lucky,
and one of those movies hits, if you get lucky, if all those pieces.
And it's also a lot about the team that people help you put together, because it's never going to be just you, kind of like, you know, you're going to have a great DP, great this, great that, you know. And it's never, you know, it's a lot of luck. But I think these kind of smaller projects that are genre, like, you know, like a thriller or a horror or a comedy per se, you know, and you make it on the road, and they might actually, with this streaming platform, they might have a chance.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, why? Okay, so in filmmaking, did you know how did you say like, I'm going to become a director? I know you fell into did you get to the point where you're like, you want to tell stories? You're like, I want to make a film. I want to.
Yeah, you know, I got to a point after like shooting like a perfume commercial for a while and loving it, you know, I was making good money, not complaining, and living a lifestyle, you know, in my 20s that a lot of people could dream about. Especially coming from another country and stuff. And then, you know, I kind of like, I remember, you know, like there was a period in my life, like a good like 3 years of my life, where every morning I used to wake up in New York, going to Kim's Video, which was like a DVD store, and rent 3 DVDs and watch them, and then return them at night and pick up other 3 DVDs and do the same thing again. Like in between jobs, you know, I was watching like 9 hours of the best feature films, like of filmmakers from all over the world. Like I must have watched all the Godard film, all the Truffaut, all the Akira Kurosawa's films, you know, all the Kazan films, all the Jimmy Wilder's films, all, you know, the Coppola, all the masters, you know, American movies, Japanese, Southern.
Because you didn't go to film. Did you go to film school?
No. I didn't.
So you did it the best way you can, which is you're actually going out and making stuff.
Yeah.
And
basically,
because most people
they avoiding to pay so much money. I mean, to be honest, if I think about it now, when I first moved to LA, which I already kind of had like a basic knowledge of like filmmaking, I doing it back, I would have probably enrolled in like, I don't know, the American Film School or something, just because I think here it is so organized, you know, in a sense that it's almost like, you know, I told you I just became a pilot, you know?
Yeah. I want to get into that.
Okay, but like by getting to the training of being a pilot makes me understand, because I'm a how do you say, self-taught kind of guy, always. Never studied anything, never wanted to learn. And I changed a lot since the past few years. I just want to learn, and I want to kind of like refine my skills and become better. And like something so technical like aviation that I recently got into, you know, made me realize how great it is to have someone that guides you through instead of like keep on crushing your face against walls after walls, you know, and then having to kind of like heal from each and every mistake that you make. When you have some guidance, it's so much better. But like I didn't have the possibility. I never had that kind of money, you know.
It's an expensive.
And I always lived dumb, you know, like not dumb, like, but never really thought about like putting $100 a month away for like darker days, or, you know, I always want to have like a nice place. Never exaggerated, but it was always been hard to meet hands. For me, the most important thing is that I've always been independent. I never had a real job in my life, never had to have one. You know, I always kind of like managed some way, you know, and my independence was mine was my greatest accomplishment for a long time. And now I kind of like feel, you know, things change, you know, like it's good to have guidance. Now looking back at it in 2013, when I moved to LA from New York, if I had the chance, why not? You know,
well, I mean, it'd be fun to go to like USC film school. I mean, that would be amazing.
Right? I mean, I would have done it maybe. I would have found myself still in big debt probably. But maybe that would have helped me then, you know, kind of like get into, be less emotional and be more rational about like how to go about direct in Hollywood, you know? Because at the end of the day, you know, it's a job like any other job, especially when you start getting into like the TV world, you know, you just have to be organized and it's, you know, because you grew up with this idea that being a director, like these big ego directors, you know, like the Stanley Kubrick.
There's
like this, that. So you want to be that, you know, like you want to be this mind that explodes with like amazing, interesting ideas. But this was other times. It's not anymore the case, you know, like at the time they didn't give a fuck, you know, like now it's all about liability, this, politeness, that. You can't cross a line here, you can't cross a line there. You got to be careful what you say, you got to be careful who you hire, you got to be careful about a lot of
things. It's a game to get the shot. It's all about, what do I need to tell this story? What location do I need? What does it need? How does it need to look? What actor? What? It's just, and whatever I got to do, you're everything. You're a therapist. You're a con man. You're a thief. You're a very loving, nurturing. You have to take on every role. And I mean, I had situations where I would, you know, shooting this music video, like short film, and I remember negotiating with this Asian lady who owned this motel, and we had the most intense fucking negotiation ever. And
you're
I'm literally screaming at her.
Are you talking about, because in P.O.V. it happened the same exact thing?
Probably. No, but
do you remember that you came to that?
I was at we were at the hotel.
Like the pagoda, the same where they shot actually La La Land.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's the same damn. And I had like a negotiation that was crazy.
Yeah, I just had all these things. Like if you wanted to be a director, and I had so many. You have to be every single hat.
See, that's what I mean.
And you have to be passionate to like, how am I going to get this done?
See, how am I? That's exactly what I mean, bro. Like it's just I like seeing it. Like that's what we did because we're independent minded.
Yeah.
But a lot of people, I'm sure, you know, like if you get into this game with guidance, you don't even need to do that. Like there's gonna be a person doing that for you. Like
if you went to USC and you came from a nice family that could have you in that situation, and you had that whole setup, like you were, you know,
like
that would be
you take a loan, a student loan, and then you know, you're so good that, you know, like you're gonna go straight away into making movies, you know, with studios or I
don't know. I've had
stuff.
friends of mine friends of mine that worked on these things, and you have the person who came from that scenario.
Yeah.
And I've just seen a lot of stuff that's not very interesting or creative, and I don't think these people don't know what they're doing because they don't know any other role.
Yeah.
They just know their thing.
Yeah.
I'm more interested in someone who can do everything. Like I remember being in a USC film a long time ago, and one of there were these two trained actors that did their whole thing, and then they had there was 4 improv comedians, and we sat there for 7 hours while they were trying to get into character.
Yeah.
And all of us did all of our scenes like 1, 2 takes. We were fucking having the best time ever.
Yeah.
I think the guy in there contacted me years later because he wanted to invest in my jumpsuits.
Yeah.
He's a real estate agent. I don't know what happened to the girl, but all the other comedians had gone on to have these careers. They're working actors.
Right.
And I just thought it was really funny. There's something about if you're a creative person and you're not too regimented, I understand what you're saying. Like if I had gone to like a fancy school and stuff, I don't know if I would have been able to pull off all the stuff I did.
No,
I think it was
so
because I was a moron and I worked with a brilliant cinematographer and I knew how to, I edited stuff. I don't think I could have. I don't know if I would have pulled the same stuff off.
I don't know
right?
either. This is what I'm saying is I don't wish for my son to go through what I went through. Like I actually, I'm already training my son to be like a sound person because
there you go. That's what you need.
It's the most difficult people to find,
Right? That's a good gig.
Yeah.
If you want to work in the film industry, I've thought about that. Become a sound guy. They do well.
My son is already kind of like, he has like his little microphone, he's 2 years old,
It's so good. He's going to be working at 6.
You need to, like, guys, impossible to find sound guys in this town. Anyway.
That's fucking great.
Yeah, but
so your son's he's gonna help make these films.
Yeah, actually, that would be a dream. If like, I always tell my wife, why don't we make dreams? Why don't we make dreams? Freudian lapses. We don't make films ourselves. Within the family. It's so fantastic. That's the best way to do it.
Well, a lot of these people that were filmmakers, I don't know. There was a different world like in the 70s when these people were making movies.
Yeah.
And there was a different business model too.
Yeah.
And everything keeps changing. But, you're making a product. And I think the smaller and the simpler you have stuff,
yeah,
the easier it is. I couldn't do all of the stuff I've done if I had to have 20 people on a crew.
Yeah.
Or 50 people trying to move them and stuff. The streamline it where it's just me and my cinematographer and then maybe someone else. We can get more done. And you come from that world of just, I got a camera and I'm going out and making stuff happen. I think there is something I know that we always think if I had this other thing.
Of course, I'm just fantasizing, almost like a fetish. If
you know more than you imagine you know.
I'm sure I do, and I know a lot of these kids, they come out of school, they end up, kind of like not doing what they want to do,
No.
It's also 1 in a million of those
It's
kids.
so hard to even first of all, to even make a movie.
Yeah.
To be able to make a movie is, unless you come from an extreme money situation.
Yeah.
And then to make something that people even give a shit about.
Bro, like, even make them, like I met people here in LA, that they have plenty of money and like people and kids that want to be filmmakers. They're like 25 or something. Like they found out 2-3 years ago they want to be filmmakers. And all I've been telling them, spend your money making the movie. All they've been doing is buying equipment. That's what they do. They buy this toy, they buy this other toy, they buy this. They think that by buying
there's a
the
whole
cameras, they will get into the business. No, just, if you have like $350,000 to spend in equipment, you might even like spend it in a movie and then you have your own movie. Just do your own thing. Put your money into, where your intelligence is, which is into telling the story. Like, what's your story? What is it?
If you're gonna buy the camera and stuff, become a cinematographer then.
Then or like a rental company if you want to get into like this
understand
stupid business.
There's a whole world. This is what the funniest thing is about Los Angeles. There's a lot of editors that just own a computer and stuff, but they've never edited anything in their life. I've had jobs where you get someone on there that's going to be an editor, and you realize
you're in a great room.
They're like they don't know how to edit.
They have no idea.
And I'm sitting there going like, what do I need you here for? You know what I mean?
If I am the one that have to tell you cut here, take this, move it 3 frames.
Oh God, I did it.
It's plenty of these people.
Yeah,
it drives me crazy.
It's like, how is this? This is like a joke, right? Like
even like in music production, even music producers. You walk into the studios, you're like, whoa, what the hell is that? This must be like $1.5 million worth. Like, They have a, LA compressor, they have like a whatever, like a plug tech, like they have expensive equipment, beautiful console, SSL. And then these guys are like there on a keyboard, they're like, they're not even to kind of pull off like, like a Mayer 7 chord. They don't even know what it is,
Wow.
And there's plenty of that.
Yeah. This city
Even
is
like
filled with
successful
characters.
producers
Yeah.
that, they make great living and they make music that is in the charts. They don't know music. They don't know what it is music. Like they have no idea.
It is a very interesting world, Los Angeles. There's so many wonderful, diverse characters, good, bad, ridiculous, brilliant, absurd. This is what's so fun about doing this podcast is I've got to know so many wonderful, interesting people and people I've got to work with creatively, and you're one of them. The one of
Same.
many.
I have great respect for you.
We always run into each other.
Yeah.
It's really nice. You've recently become a pilot.
Last month, yeah.
Tell me about this process, because this is something. Before I moved to Los Angeles, I knew a guy who was a pilot, and I wanted to maybe go into I thought about become a commercial pilot, but I didn't have 20/20 vision, so you couldn't do that, and I couldn't join the Air Force to learn. But I always kind of something I wanted to do, and I was looking into it and was planning on it, and then I ended up getting a job and then moving to Los Angeles, so it never happened. But then I see that you now are a pilot.
Yeah.
Tell me about the whole did you always want to do this?
Look, the first person that sort of got me into this was my father-in-law. My wife's dad owns his own airplane in Italy.
Oh, wow.
And he flies it, and he's been flying since the 70s. He loves it. And it took me like the first time must have been like 5 years old. It took me, I know my wife since almost.
Well, you guys grew up together.
Yeah. And without my parents' knowledge, my father-in-law takes me up on the airplane, and take me to like the Alps, to some like amazing.
Wow.
And I'm like, oh, I love this. And then over the years, I went a few times again with him. And I have another friend here who also is a pilot, which had the chance to go fly with quite often. Is my buddy Erez is a great guy, like one of the only person I see here in LA, especially since COVID, because I try to keep things a little bit.
Yeah.
He's the owner of Milk Studio, great sort of
wow.
photo fashion hub.
Been there. I've worked at Milk Studios.
Yeah, it's a great studio.
Yes.
Especially kind of in the fashion, like high end.
I've done a lot of working for art directors. In art department. I've been in a lot of Milk Studio shoots.
Right. So and he's a like avid pilot. He loves it. And I had the chance to go flying with him a lot. And he flies kind of like this Cirrus SR-20, or 22, which are like beautiful airplanes. And so I kind of like started going with him, got into it, and helping him like in the cross countries, with like navigation, this and that. And then I thought, you know what? I'm going to give myself a shot and try to kind of like pursue it myself and see if I can actually get to be the pilot of an airplane. So I kind of looked around, tried to find like the right school for me. I couldn't find one. I went to one. I didn't quite like the instructor. It wasn't the right vibe for me. And then I kind of like drove up to Van Nuys, and I found this hangar. It's ran by like a Filipino family, and they're great. The husband is kind of like the mechanic, and the wife is she's kind of like the accounting and kind of like customer relationship. And I asked them, hey, you guys, do you guys teach here how to become a pilot? And they're like, no, but we don't. We just rent airplane. But I know this guy who just kind of like is looking for student, is an actual airline pilot, but like at the time, it's not great, so it's looking for some side gig. So I was lucky to find like this 21-year-old kid from Arcadia, he's like first generation American Chinese. He just came from like Arizona State College, or I'm not sure, but he just completed all the rating possible. So it's like fresh out of like spending 5 years pretty much every day in a cockpit of an airplane. So he knows everything. And he taught me in like less than like 6 months, going there 3-4 times a week, spending several $1,000s. By like, I think 15 or 16 hours of training, I was already flying solo.
Oh my gosh.
So I did my first solo. I think, I don't know, it might be 16 or 17 hours. I have to look at my logbook.
Well, tell me, what is this experience like?
Oh man, like literally is one of the scariest thing I ever done in my life.
And also, it's got to be terrifying, but also beautiful. I can't even.
Oh man, like
take me through this.
I mean, so you get there. You know, first of all, I had to postpone it a few times because, like, when I remember, like, I was like hour 12, hour 13, and my instructor say, okay, maybe it was a Wednesday. Okay, Friday we go solo, and I was like, oh my god. So and then on Thursday, I go.
You're in. Okay, is he in there with you, or not at all?
Not at all. Actually, when you go solo, you're literally
you're
by yourself.
By yourself.
That's the solo, and it's a big thing for like a student pilot, So there are two types of solo.
You have 16 hours of
16 hours. Look, but the thing that made me kind of like calmer is that in the military time, they used to train pilots for 8 hours and then send them out.
Wow.
Back in the days. So it's like, okay, so look, at the end of the day, like piloting like the airplane is not the most difficult thing in the world. There's certain things that there's a lot of knowledge. Like I would say like 25% kind of pilot skill, real skills, and then 75 of like decision making that you make based on the knowledge that you acquire and the studying that you do of aviation in general, which covers many different subjects, like weather maybe being one of the biggest, because it's kind of like the biggest concerns all the time, and the one thing that you never have to underestimate. And as a matter of fact, just like 2 days ago, I was in Big Bear, coming back from Big Bear, kind of windy day, kind of experience medium high turbulences. It's not fun. It's not fun.
Like in a little plane, yeah.
It's not fun.
No.
And shit can go bad really, really fast. Not here in Southern California. Like the weather here is not bad, to be honest. That's why a lot of flight schools are out here, because you get a lot of flying days per year. But like if you go, like for example, in the East Coast, like Florida, which is like probably the biggest place for like aviation, like general aviation. In Florida, like you can get into, like pretty fast into like deadly scenarios, and usually they involve thunderstorms. That's usually like the biggest ordeal of a pilot. It's convective air, so like unstable air. Like the day looks beautiful, but there is a lifting force, and then there's moisture in the air, and then all of a sudden you're in the middle of a thunderstorm. If you didn't check your weather before, it's easy to find yourself into one because you don't quite see it coming. So there's a lot of things that you gotta know, and I tell you something, like I failed once, for my pilot license. The first test I did, I failed on the oral portion, talking about weather, like, cause that's how important it is. It didn't even take me out to fly. Just we sit down, we had a conversation about aviation. He realized that I was still taking baby steps, when you're not fluent in the language.
Yeah.
I went back, I studied more, and then the next time he passed me, then we went out to fly, and he thought that I had the skills necessary to not only, being a pilot, but also carry passenger, because I get the certificate to carry up to 5 passengers. So now I can actually,
wow.
Their life is in my hands. I gotta be doing something good. Like you gotta know what you're doing, and so it's a great in general. Like it's a fantastic thing, and America for that is just like the best country. Like there's nothing in the world like here.
So the first time you were solo, you're terrified. I mean, as you would be. I can't even.
Oh my God, you are. Literally, I was sweating. Like I think That's what they do right after every solo. They either throw a bucket of water at you or they cut a piece of your shirt because you literally sweat from like the stress and anxiety of.
God. So is the hardest thing is the landing, taking off?
Yeah, you know, definitely the landing, like, you know, the landing is probably the most challenging for most people, I think. I mean, at least for me, I'm pretty good at landing, but it's just kind of like every landing is different. So you never know what's gonna happen on that landing. So
Because of the wind and
yeah, and it's not only that, you know, because you come on a different attitude every time, and you don't know exactly, you know, how it is gonna play out, you know. But after you, I have maybe like now almost maybe 250 or 300 landings. So after that, you kind of like get a sense of it. You understand what's important to do, when to do it, and it's all about the approach. It's not only the landing itself; it's how you get there. Like everything in life, right? It's a good metaphor.
Great metaphor. Yeah,
it's a great metaphor. Like, for example, you know, there is what is called a traffic pattern, you know, and every airport has one, and general aviation as well as airliners, you know, they have to follow those rules. So we all kind of under the same rules, you know. There are two main different rules. One is the VFR and one is the IFR. VFR being like visual flight, meaning certain weather, and then IFR meaning just flying with instrument, you know, like there's most of airliners, they fly with instruments. That's why you can take off when like this very foggy or it's snowing, because they use just what the instruments. But that's a different rating. It's like the next step for like a guy like me. Mm-hmm. The next rating would be instrument.
Is this something now you've done this? You've got the pilot to fly like a 5 passengers.
Yeah.
Now the goal is to get more hours.
And
more
training. You know, it's gonna be a hobby for me. It's not gonna be a business, but it's something that I want to cultivate, because going back to the idea for the artist talk that we had, you know, I always kind of feel that I use my very creative side of the brain most of the time. And I kind of like...
You need structure.
I need structure. So that's... We go back to there, you know, like you realize how helpful it is to both use your left brain and your right brain.
Yeah.
It completes you in a way.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. My girlfriend, we were... there's this image where you look at it and you tell like, what's the color and what do you see? And I saw... I don't remember what it was, purple and green, and she saw a different color. Like she uses... that side of her brain, the logic, reasoning, and I'm creative, so I just see. I don't realize that it's so amazing how different people see the world. And so what I had to do, so when I used to do stand up, I had no problem coming up with whatever. My whole thing was structure, so I would just there's all these like books on writing stuff, and then when it came to everything I do creatively, for like writing films and stuff, all I do is focus on structure, because I don't have the ideas and the creative stuff. It's too many options.
You have
too
too
many.
Yeah.
So my whole thing is I just have to focus on structure.
Absolutely.
Which is probably exactly what you're talking about. Like the structure to how to get to be more organized, to get to A to B.
Yeah, because we are independent. We both proven to be super creative, and then we are also standing here say both of us, why we didn't become superstars yet, you know? And look, we still have a chance, and I feel like what we have now is like all this creative experience that we have to channel into something more structured, and to create something that everybody can sort of consume, you know, like, because...
Is that your goal, is to make the great film? To make, what is your...
Look, as I see myself right now, completely honestly, I'm going to be an open book with you. I don't see any more like, you know, any specific media. Like the world now is so, like what we are doing now, it's work, you know, like podcasts, you know, music, films. It's all part of like, it's all about the persona, you know, like having the world knowing you. And you've been great at doing that, you know, like people want to know you want to share your soul with people, and doing it in a way that makes sense. And, you know, obviously a movie is in your movie, you're going to put all the things that excite you, that you like, you know, but at the end of the day, you still have to deal with tons of people, you know.
Yeah.
So I think it's about creating like a lifestyle, you know, and a vision together, you know, like sort of you have to create your own virus and try to kind of like infect other people with your ideas, you know, somehow.
With what is this? So you're not looking for a specific medium or anything. It's just a matter of
not now. Not now. I'm in a sort of like very chaotic phase of my brain. I know that I'm certain that whatever I do, I can succeed. Just I have to put the time on it. So I see things very pragmatically. It's like, okay, I want to make a movie. I know I can. If I decide today with you, I'm gonna make a movie. I know, because I have the strength to persuade. I fortunately enough have the finances to survive, so I can probably do it. You know, I'm trying to make an album now, for example, and I've been working on it for a while, and that's been challenging, man. Because I'm all by myself, and I decided to do it just by myself.
So you're doing all the instruments, you're recording yourself,
everything.
Oh wow!
But I became so skilled in the audio.
Beautiful.
I became so skilled. I mean, now I can really take this to the next step. You know, I don't think I'm the most gifted singer, but I'm pretty good at writing whatever I'm writing. I'm just doing it in Italian language and in English a little bit with a couple of friends, kind of partnering up as songwriters. I got a publishing deal, you know, kind of like starting kind of moving my pieces on the chess table.
Now, do you find that as a creative person, do you find that you always have to be working on a creative project? Are you always working on something?
I feel like if you're not, you know, like I will get so depressed. I feel like, to me, that's just like the ultimate antidepressant, the ultimate.
So you're doing it for health reasons, to function as a person. You feel you need to be doing something
absolutely.
creatively.
I couldn't live without. Like, honestly, like I really pity people that don't have like a passion in life, and you know they're just like stranded, and I can see how they get easily depressed and easily, you know, without having something to do that makes them happy or unhappy, for God's sake, but at least not low in energy, you know, like.
Yeah. If I have to be working on something, if not, I would be self-destructive.
Yeah.
And so I always have to have something that I'm like, and it's kind of, as you get older, you don't even realize that, but it's my whole life has been that, you know, it's like I've been always involved in some kind of creative endeavor, you know. It's funny to meet other people that are similar, kindred spirits, and like how they navigate and how they
not easy to find in this world, like, because I can see that in you too. You're very eclectic, you know, you're an eclectic personality, which is seen as a negative term in this society, you know, because people want highly skilled individuals. They don't want people that, you know, are, you know, jack of all trades. Like, really, that, you know, whatever they do, they can do it. You need to be the best at making
at one specific thing. Yeah.
You know,
I think it's changing though, because I had a television producer when I did the Good Life video. She saw that and and other stuff, and she was trying to pitch me, and she was showing my stuff to people, and they didn't get it. They didn't get the fact that I was the guy who did the song, was singing the song, wrote the song, was acting in it, and I was directing it. Yeah. And I was doing a character.
They didn't believe it? They thought you were artifact?
They didn't understand it.
Oh, they understand it.
Because at the time, I think it's changed now. I think but I'm thinking to myself, like, what did Charlie Chaplin do?
Yeah, exactly.
Did fucking everything.
Fucking everything.
Like, what I mean, it's just, I'm expressing
And it's funny
myself.
because today, as you said, like all these Instagrammers, that's what they do. They like...
You're kind of doing everything.
They do everything.
Yeah, so I don't think it's as weird.
Yeah, no,
you know,
it's not.
that somebody is.
But still, they, you know, like people select their medium, and I'm gonna be the best Instagrammers, and they they do that.
Yeah.
Or I'm gonna be, you know, the best at doing podcasts.
Yeah. Well, you have like these people that are these social media people that have these. They've worked the system to make a huge following, whether buying followers and then gaming things, and they understand all the manipulation.
Right.
And they're skilled with their doing their whatever. Then they get cast in something, and then they have no ability to deliver a line. Or,
Doesn't work.
Yeah,
The movie bombs. You know, like it just doesn't work. It doesn't translate.
Yeah,
You
it's
know,
a
everybody
terrible
thought
thing.
it did. You know, it doesn't.
Yeah, it's that in the stand-up world.
You know what it
had
translates incredibly? Like rappers or
rappers, yeah.
musicians that actually cannot. Most of the time, they can act. You know, I keep on
True.
seeing like so many rappers on TV. I'm like, what is it? Like, how? I mean, and they can act. You know, a lot of
can.
them can.
Well, yeah. Well, I get, okay. As a rapper, if you are writing your stuff and you're performing in a microphone, but you
Yeah.
also have to be in front of people and performing.
Yeah.
If you're in front of people performing, you're gonna have a way better opportunity if in front of a crowd.
Yeah.
Like I mean, I did stand up for years, and you know, I'm writing and performing, and you're basically the producer, the director, the writer, the performer. And I also did like improv. I worked with acting coaches. I did the classes. I've done everything. But if you get on a film set and you're in front of, 20 people, 30 people, and there's millions of dollars put in this, you have to fucking deliver.
Yeah.
You gotta deliver in that
Absolutely.
moment. You can't be.
Absolutely.
So someone who's had experience of getting in front of a crowd of 300 people, 500 people, it's on, fucker. You
Yeah.
gotta deliver. Like,
Yeah.
so if you have, that's a good training ground. If you come from that world, all those people can sometimes evolve into being good
Absolutely. I
actors.
was just like, that's funny you said that. I just watched the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air reunion on HBO, and Will Smith just talks about that. Like that, how Quincy Jones got him to kind of land the show, and he just did music before, never did anything else. And it was Quincy's birthday, and all the executive that kind of were gonna produce the show were at his birthday, and he had no idea. And Quincy probably looked at him and says, he is perfect for it. It's like, I'm gonna audition him now. So he literally auditioned him in front of all the executive at his birthday without having told him that. And he probably killed it, because he had this experience that you just kind of like mentioned,
It's like
the
charismatic.
performer, the
Yeah.
real performer versus kind of like, look, I see a lot of these acting training, can be a double-edged sword.
Yeah, it can screw people up. It
can screw people
really
up.
screws people's heads up.
I did start my fair amount of studying as well, in New York, talking about New York, that's what I used to do. Like after the Kim's video stuff, I started actually, going to this acting studio like 3-4 times a week with Susan Batson. I don't know if you ever heard of her. She's literally like the Yoda of like, she's amazing, she trained.
She's in New York?
Yeah. She kind of like the one that trains all the New York talent, the big talent. She did like big actors like Tom Cruise,
Now,
Nicole Kidman.
Give me what is her method? What is her routine? Does she pull from all the...
She wrote a wonderful book that is called Truth. And just talking about it, just I get like goosebumps, because
Yeah.
I just think of her face and the way she teaches, and
What is her like approach in
it's
a nutshell?
esoteric,
Okay.
100% esoteric and tribal. Like even her method is tribal, like there is this old thing called the dance, where at the beginning you kind of like get in a circle and everybody imitates each other, and then I used to do this class called on camera class, where you get trained to kind of be on camera. So there were all these methods that you use. It's method acting, so Stanislavski based, but kind of adapted for modern times, to trigger emotion and sort of like tailor them to the text, and so it's a warm up made of kind of like these dances, and then a research like within yourself of the needs, and trying to find the person that you're trying to talk to within, that you will imagine that you're talking to as you're delivering your lines, and then sort of like a studying of the text, and then a on-camera audition of the text, and then all students watching what you're doing, criticizing, commenting on what you did. Very good, sort of like straightforward type of class. That kind of really got me to love sort of the game, kind of, because I guess like as a coming from the fashion circuit and this sort of fast life sort of thing, I was very superficial. I realized, like it's like I never had to dig deeper into my emotions and I was a bit of a clown in a sense. Everything was sort of an act. It wasn't real. It was a sort of pantomimical, And studying acting made me more aware of my emotion, and it also fucked me up quite a bit.
Yeah. Well, if you don't have a sense of who you are, but if it's funny because you see people that if you're not emotionally stable, I guess, but you have to be able the ability to go to these places emotionally and fully commit to it. It's helpful if you've had somewhat of a traumatic emotional life, that you've had intense situations, so you can have stuff to access from. Yeah. But I can commit to some fucking crazy ass character and fully do it and believe it and make it as real as possible. But I can come back to myself. It's real. I don't understand when you hear these people, you were so in the character, you never came out of it. And it's like, well, I don't think you even know who the fuck you are in the first place. You know what I mean? If you could never come back to...
Oh, man. I so agree with what you're saying.
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't... They don't even know who they are. Yeah, they do. And they don't know who they are in the first place. And they're taking themselves too seriously and everything else. They're not in on the joke of life. If you want to be a brilliant actor, have no ego, no pride. You don't give a shit about making a fool of yourself, and you fully commit. You have those skills down.
And be able to step in and out of the character.
Of course.
That's very important too.
Yeah, you have to know... My whole trick is I figure out the energy of the character. Everything is energy. That tells you how the character walks. That tells you where he carries his energy. That tells you the body language, which is 90%, like 70% of what we communicate, 80%, whatever. You'll figure out everything just from that, just the energy. Because then you know how they have a mantra inside their head that is like, I did this film where I played this like psycho cop. And I literally watched Fox News.
I saw like bits and pieces of it. Yeah, it was great.
I watched Fox News. I was full on, like, I create a whole world for this person. Yeah. I hate everybody. Yeah. And in my head, all day long, I'm fucking yelling at people in my head. Yeah. Like full on to get the energy of this lunatic. Right. To try to understand what it would be like to be this person filled with this kind of like in a battle. Because that's what this guy's dealing with every day. Yeah. So I'm doing what my version of who I would be in that character if I was a little emotionally off. So
that's what Susan will call an overall sensation. It's part of the training that she... Yeah. She kind of always say, you got to have this physical... When I envision you doing that, it's something has to do with your gut or your like liver. You have a bad liver and you're condemned. The world is your enemy and it's here all the time and it's like aching all the time and it's like something.
But you're dealing with it. Yeah, you're dealing. It's the energy because every single person has their own like fucking mantra. Everyone has their own like fucking catchphrase that they're doing. When I worked in recovery with crazy people in the world, I mean, mentally people that are extremes, they all had like a catchphrase would define their personality. Right. Like this one was like, before my chest got mutilated. Like she would say that like fucking all the time. They all have some kind of thing. Yeah. And then it's that simple. If you make all this stuff simple, then then you got it. People make it really too complicated.
Way more complicated than it's supposed to be. At the end of the day, it's like acting is like a minuet. It's in like your body's your instrument. You go up as soon as like the directors, like you walk into the set. Yeah, you start like you're already kind of you feel the set. You start acting, then cut, move on, next scene. Okay, snap out 1 second, think what's going on. I gotta study this. I'm just gonna deliver it. That's it. Like people that like they have a limp in the movie, and then you see in the like you break for lunch and then they're still limping. You're like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, there's
You know what I'm saying?
I could see if you were doing a very specific dialect and you were just trying to, you had it down where you didn't want to fuck it up, so you just had to I could see.
Right, that's the like.
That's
Okay,
pretty funny, the
okay,
physicality.
you're Australian. You're trying to sign American. You're not gonna, you know, like maybe at lunch you're gonna still speak in, you know, with an American accent to improve. You know, like because just like.
I like the limp that you just keep going with it.
No, like
I
I had this experience. I had this experience, dude. That's why I say, like one of the actors, you know, like.
You were working with an actor who had a limp, and he kept going.
Let's just say
so
that,
committed.
so like in case the remote, you know, the remote instance that this actor is gonna see it posted doesn't get cornered. But yeah, I see the limp, and that was happening. You know, this is like kept on limping. That was disturbing everybody. You know?
He was still
And it was
auditioning for the part, maybe.
And it was over limping in the movie. You
Of
know,
course
like,
he was.
You know. Over limping, yeah, and everybody by the end of the film is like, if she or he limps another fucking time.
I like the fact that he's so he's overdone it.
And then the director, like me, I get, you know, I don't want to, like, I want to respect everyone's method, and you know, like I don't want to, you know, tell you, you know, like, oh, you should do this, you should that. It's not my place to tell but you know, if someone makes it a little less, you know, serious about themselves or like their craft and more like a matter of conversation, it becomes easier also to kind of like talk about it. Doesn't have to be a taboo that you know, a director's problem talking to an actor's about like something, because oh my god, then she's gonna get offended or he's gonna get mad.
Yeah, how do you navigate all that, like working with it? How do you get the best performance out of an actor?
You just like pray.
You just hopefully hire somebody who knows what the fuck they're doing, and you let it rip.
Definitely. Like in the audition process, you kind of like meant to see like who's good and who's not, you know. And all those years that I did, like watching actors on those, you know, mini DV tapes on, you know, that helped a lot because I really get to understand who's good and who's not good, and listening to all the feedbacks from the other students, and there is something like visceral, like you see if someone is real or not real when he's acting, you know, you see it right away.
Definitely. And if you put that in a film, it'll show. It will take you out of the story.
It's day and night. Like you know, unless it's like in one of those action films, you know, that, you know, it's all action and whatever, you know, like this actor that you don't expect that they can be beautiful actors, you know, but like think about Liam Neeson or you know, Nicolas Cage or you know, Jason Statham, you know, like these guys that do action but do also, I mean, Nicolas Cage, sorry, maybe
I did a movie with him.
To be honest, he's my hero. Like he is my ultimate hero.
He's the guy that's. There's so many fucking funny moments. I
just want to include him in every conversation. That's why I brought him up, even in the action, even if he doesn't really belong in the action movie.
There's an old video of him on like a talk show where he comes out and does like a flip, and he looks like he's got to be coked out of his mind, and he's like on some European talk show. I'll have to send it to you. It is fucking the best.
He's my ultimate hero. I think he lives in Orange County now. Incredibly, I always ask. If I know that someone might know him, I want to know everything. You know, I want to know all the gossip.
Did you see that? Okay, I was in a movie, Dog Eat Dog. Did you see that movie?
Cane mangia cane.
With Paul Schrader directed it and Willem Dafoe. Did you see that movie?
I think I did, yeah.
Because Nicolas Cage goes full Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, I think I did.
It's fucking great.
Yeah, like I think I saw it.
For him doing his thing. I mean, he's fucking hilarious.
He's the best. And what did you do? What character?
I was like opening scene. I was like I was a gun enthusiast. Wow. I was like, it opens on me going on about like the importance of having a gun and all this stuff. And this guy's challenging me at the talk with the show host. And then Willem Dafoe's character's watching us go on about this. And he just got out of prison. And then he violently murders his girlfriend.
Right away.
But he's watching me.
I don't remember the plot. I want to ask you something, but how do you feel about like, because like you're a very sensitive guy, you know, I got very creative, artistic, and you get typecast always as like this redneck.
Well, I've just playing like my goal was to play pathetic, odd, weird, strange characters. So
And how do you feel about that? Like,
I get it. I'm not I'm not Tom Cruise.
right.
I'm not a fucking.
You can still be like the intellectual professor if you
I could play whatever.
You could play like the intellectual professor if you wanted to, right?
I'll play anything.
But
I want to
like
play the weirdos.
You're growing a mullet.
I have a mullet. I did a music video about Multitude, which was my last one,
right?
And then the next one I'm transform myself. This next video here I'm gonna start shooting here in a couple weeks. But I'm more interested in character actors. It's more fascinating.
So but like,
I'd rather play these.
You're putting on a mask.
Yes,
know?
I'm playing myself
as
these eccentric type characters in life. Those are the people I'm more fascinated with.
Right.
These people
as
that
case studies
come more from a desperation place. You know, I mean, the stuff I've done with my own stuff are usually exaggerated things. I mean, in order to, depends on what you're doing, right?
Yeah.
It depends on what the hell, you know, as far as the stuff that makes me laugh, as far as satire, which is a little bit more exaggerated anyway, terrible stuff, you know, and I'm trying to make it as realistic as possible while I'm still pushing the kind of like Jack Nicholson in The Shining.
Yeah.
He's totally fucking over the top, but he totally nails it. You know what I mean? But if he was it wouldn't work. You know what I mean? Like, you have to be able to push it so it still has a level of believability, but if it's too much and it's too cartoonish.
Because I think I just saw an opportunity in what you're doing that I think is very interesting, you know, especially in a time and place like we're living right now, where the world and America especially is so divided, you know, like so polarized, and you portrayed, you know, these characters, you know, gun enthusiasts, you know, redneck, you know, kind of like.
Well, I grew up in a small town in western Kansas. I know that world.
Right. You know that world, and I think that world, you know, there's so many stories to tell in that world, and these people, you know, like from like an LA liberal point of view, you see them as trash, but in reality, it's just people, you know, like anybody else, and I think they're a lot of, like. I think, for example, Ozark did very well into kind of like giving, you know, a soul to these characters and show like also like some of them as very smart individuals. And, you know, I think there is a bunch of like great stories to be told about, which ultimately, if anything, if, you know, they can help, you know, depolarizing society, because when you get to know more about people.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. When I first moved to Los Angeles, there was such hatred towards the flyover states.
Yeah.
And I was from Kansas, so it's immediately your
borderline.
Just and
you labeled as stupid, racist, this and that.
But then if you go into the world of the movie stars, the recording artists, the people that have probably done that influenced the most of the people on the planet, like, where are they from?
Yeah, they're all from
you know, Ohio, Michigan,
small town.
They're from all these. Brad Pitt's from Missouri. Like, I mean, you take all these different characters and stuff, and you realize, I don't know, the perception, people's perceptions of things are always off of what they think those were. So, for example, I did a stand-up show and the Punchline in San Francisco, and I killed. And then she called the comedian Al Magical and was like, and he called me and was like, dude, what the hell did you do up there? I was very happy with my performance. That did so well that this kind of reaction. So then I told her, I go, could I do a set at Sacramento?
Yeah.
And she's like, well, you're just too alternative and they're not going to get you. You're too, you know, whatever. Then 2 weeks later, I had this job where I was selling cookware. So I go to these other cities and I would get on spots at these different places. So late Improv got me in Omaha. So Omaha is in the middle of nowhere. So I'm this like too alternative, too intelligent comedian to not to be able to do Sacramento, whatever the hell, because I'm just too cool for that.
Right.
Then I go to Omaha and I fucking kill it. I just did one set and they let me do sets every night. I'm, after the show, I'm signing autographs, I'm taking photos, I'm getting like applause,
So much fun.
like it's absurdity of, but people's mind,
what act
they
were you
think the
doing there in
Midwest, what the Midwest is going to get.
Right.
And you're like, no, dude, they're way hipper. They're actually more sophisticated.
Yeah.
But you just see the most shitty examples. So if you always highlight the shitty examples of areas.
Yeah.
But dude, Los Angeles has some of the worst people on the fucking planet. So if I only highlighted these crazy people that are even crazy, and that's all you saw.
And there's so many good people.
But there's also some of the best people in the world,
Yeah, but I have to say, like, small town America is great people.
Of course, most people are wonderful. The only ones that make it on the news and different stuff are these crazy viral videos are the town lunatic.
Yeah.
And those are the ones
and
that
this need to be regulated. You know, like, honestly, like there is no end. Otherwise, like, I'm so happy that Facebook, Google, Twitter are getting grilled left and right, because they have to regulate what the fuck they're doing, like it's insane.
We live in a crazy world. The one thing I was thinking, like, if it's going to be the apocalypse, at least we'll see, as the world ends, we'll see a bunch of videos of people losing their shit.
Yeah.
Like, it's everyone with the camera recording.
I mean, bro, I'm addicted, like, on Reddit, like...
Oh, yeah.
It's like
all the public freakouts. Oh, my God.
I can, like,
my God.
I usually just allow myself to look at that only as I'm sitting on the toilet taking my morning shit. Dude, but, like...
When this whole thing went down, the COVID lockdown thing, and I saw every public freakout video... They're addictive. You can't stop watching crazy people. How many fucking racist people?
I look public freak out. Then I look at conspiracy. I found it very fascinating. Subreddit,
Got to be careful. You could end up a flat earther.
Yeah, I mean,
I have a friend who's.
It happens even to people that are like normal.
Yeah.
Look, that's why like stuff needs to be regulated, because if people stop repeating the same thing for several times, everybody start believing it.
Well, you know what though?
I mean, if I would show you the evidence of flat Earth, I promise you will start believing it.
No, I get it. I get the idea that you people. I am a creative person, so I love conspiracy stuff because it's like a what if exercise.
Yeah.
But I still go back to,
and also it's cool to see like how crazy people can get, and also sometimes you wonder, well, they might be right. Like the world is so fucked up, so like you start thinking, like there is like crazy stuff that happens for real.
I could see, and I can see how people it's oversimplified. Like there's so much going on that it's an oversimplification of stuff.
Yeah.
And why are conspiracies? Well, because the news isn't really a lot of times reporting the truth, and it's all this propaganda. And then we have our government doesn't necessarily telling us the truth. So that's where there's a window of people trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
And then, but who actually knows the right answers? I don't know. But I definitely,
and it's not somewhere in between either, like because it's somewhere else, like when you start kind of like looking into, like the regular, like the mainstream media is the pre-election, was like just grilling Trump for everything he was doing, and he go like on this like forums, and all you see is like literally fanatics of people that thinks that. I don't know if you follow like the Wayfair conspiracy. That was the best.
Oh, I went down all of those. I think it's good to understand them, to see. I like to understand why someone believes it. I like to see where the stuff.
But there are also young kids usually. Like if you think about like the, and obviously like people in like late teens or like early 20s, they're more prone to believe whatever, like because they don't have enough life experience to kind of understand how like the wheels sort of spins in this society, like, and that we are part of something bigger that exists because it was built by someone else, and we are benefiting from it, because I bet you, like if someone tells you, you and I, we both sort of like are candidate for presidency, And I say, you know what, we're gonna have to make a big sacrifice, you know. But this sacrifice we'll see like in 30 years, like in 30 years it's gonna really pay off, and our kids are gonna benefiting from it, like for example the Green Deal or whatever, and then you come and he's like, Tommaso, it's a great guy, but this is what we're gonna do. This plastic, we're gonna trash it in the ocean. It's the easiest way, it's the cheapest way, and the benefits, we're gonna use them here and now, to pay this mortgage, to do this. People are gonna say, Jeff is horrible. Tommaso, a really good guy. But then when they're gonna vote for you, for Jeff, not for me. That says it's like it. So that's the reality. Like people need, also because people are struggling.
Yeah.
And especially if you indoctrinate every day that you need this, you need that, you need that, you need that. If you don't have that, you're a loser.
Yeah, we live in a.
So I think here we come back to the idea that in our movies, yes, we come from Hollywood. Yes, we did it because we know what entertainment, quote unquote, is. But still, at some point, like a real artist, at some point, needs to be able to tell something that is relevant, important.
Of course, you have to tell stories that help shape
and spread message and shape philosophical thoughts.
Yeah.
And political thoughts.
Get people to see things in a different perspective.
Look, yeah. At the end, you have to do it.
That's what an artist. This is what an artist is supposed to do. At some respects, I could be wrong, but society is here, and this person is able to come in and out of it, and it's going to create stuff that's hopefully helps it like a sheep herd, like a dog, to hopefully people can see if it's going down a bad way, that it can kind of help give different points of view or perspectives, because it goes outside the normal realm of what a status quo, a society person is. Because most people are working paycheck to paycheck. They're living in their little world. And hopefully as a creative person, as an artist, you're seeing things from all at a bigger like a macro level, bigger space, like Aristotle would talk about, where you'd be able to, you're seeing things at a different point of view, and you're going to offer a different perspective. So it hopes somebody that has so narrow what they think, they could maybe see a story or something else and then see it and hopefully have more compassion, more humanity, or they will hopefully evolve as a person to see maybe someone else's point of view that will expand theirs. Or I don't fucking know.
Studios have agendas anyway.
Well, now they all have. That's the problem, is that they started pushing the identity.
It's proven
politics.
that are also infiltrated by
yeah.
It's proven, they need to push certain things. But obviously, it's stuff that is needed for society, Like you see what's happening now, with the sort of like the gender issues, promoting, inclusiveness. I mean, it's great. It's great. But it's definitely, you see that there is like a master plan.
There's always there's always the overcompensation.
It means that society needs it.
Yeah.
That, people need to be included because they can, some smart people, I hope, they can predict that if not, could create big damage. So,
well, the more diversity, the more points of view, the more the possibility for evolution, I think.
Sorry, you're opening a Pandora box now, and I'm gonna get real with you. Yes and no. I just give you one example: China.
Yeah.
China is a monoculture, and it's not inclusive in any way. And they make plans for 100 to 150 years. And there you see their curves in terms of like evolution is frenziness. It's going so fast. Because here, democracy, the way we live in it, it's great. But at the same time, someone, like captain of the ship says, turn 20 degrees left. The ship start turning 20 degrees, slowly, 20 degrees. By the time it's 20 degrees, 4 years have passed. Someone else say, hey, 30 degrees right. So the captain of the ship starts turning 30 degrees right. This ship is going nowhere. In China, they say, let's build a train, like a rail from here to here. What's the shorter distance? They trace a line, everything in between, move aside. Nobody can say anything. you can have better infrastructure that way, you know. But at the same time, you know, yeah, you disregard of people political beliefs, their gender orientation, their likes. Eventually people are gonna rebel, I think, and overthrow like a regime. But who knows, if you are, you know, a certain regime, they last for a long time, you know.
Well, China has been a government for a really long time, and I kind of think they're winning. They're gonna win the way we're going.
Look,
I think we're all gonna be speaking Chinese if everything. I don't know.
It's already happening. Like there's more Chinese speaking people than English speakers in the world for sure. So this is already happening.
Yeah.
You know, it's not that you know. Now it is about. To me, it's like, you know, the only chance that we stand as Western society is like if we really unify, you know, and that means also the United States of America, Canada, Europe, Australia, you know, all these countries, they come together, you know, and we create something that is, you know, beyond NATO and military, like
that's the problem.
Free trade.
Yeah.
Free, like
all that focus on
freedom
the
of
military.
movement and work.
Yeah.
I think that's our only chance, to be honest. And then create like a superpower, new world order, like government within the Western society is a bit more strict, you know, that has less flexibility, you know, because we lose so much time in deciding who does this, who does that. Just like, let's pick up the best of the best, you know, in a democratic process, but less show and more facts, you know.
Yeah. Well, I couldn't even pretend to figure out how to solve the world's problems or what to do. I just feel that a lot of changes, I think the COVID thing is actually is forcing a lot of changes and stuff in society.
Set things in motion, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I just hope I'm able to make more. I'm just focusing on making my next little short film music video. And
that's fantastic.
that's all I can do is what I know how to do. And then try to be a good person.
That's the most important part, you know. If you want to start a revolution, start from your village, said Honoré de Balzac, you know, the French philosopher. But Buddha says, if you want to start a revolution, start from within.
Yeah.
Which is, I think it's even more powerful because...
Definitely.
Yeah, you can convince your friends and stuff. But at the end of the day, it's all about you. You know, you have to convince yourself first about something.
Well, if you got to figure out what you're here for, what you're supposed to be doing, and then do it.
Exactly.
I mean, that's all I'm trying to do.
Plan, execute the plan. At the end of the day, you have something, you know, and hopefully people will like it. You know, if you keep on doing it, there is no way you're going to fail. Like, I think if you keep on doing something, you might fail 150 times. At the 151, you're going to succeed, you know.
Yeah. What the hell are we doing here? We're doing something.
For sure.
Thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're so awesome. Tommy is the best.
Thanks, brother.
I can't believe you're going to have another one. This is great.
Yeah, I'm so excited. Yeah. I honestly, like, I have to apologize. I'm very tired because I don't sleep much, man. Like,
because it's like you got the whole thing. Now I'm at the age where all my friends have kids and stuff.
Yeah.
And
you're never gonna, like, whenever you're gonna have kids, if you're gonna have kids, trust me, you're never gonna sleep the same. Like, it's just like they tell you and you don't believe it till it happens to you. You're like, oh yeah, I mean, I'm gonna sleep. Nah, it's not gonna happen. You just don't. You're worried about a lot of stuff all the
constantly,
time.
I'm sure. Everything is focused now. The kids, that's their priority.
I'm worried like all the time about everything, you know, like especially like that it's my kid related. I'm actually just thinking about it now. It's like, oh, is he sleeping? Is he okay?
I think you're a wonderful father, and your wife is awesome. I'm sure she's an incredible mother.
Yeah, she is.
You guys are fucking.
She's great. Honestly.
Solid team.
Thanks,
Thank you.
buddy.
Thank you. Check out the movie we did.
Yeah, P.O.V.
Yes. And hopefully we'll do more. We need to do something else.
Let's do it before I leave for Italy. Let's do something.
I would love that.
Yeah.